I'm the only European who made it to the Shareholder Meeting and Battery Day in California, and that in a time of a severe pandemic. I just can't imagine how this, I just can't express how this all happened. I'm just blown away. And, I'm not only blown away by the fantastic content they presented in terms of technical, more range, more efficiency, lower cost, more volume, more everything. I'm even more impressed about the people I met there, which was an extremely impressive event for me in terms of understanding the whole ecosystem around that, what you normally hear in the news and maybe from some YouTubers. There is a dynamic out there in Silicon Valley you just can't imagine. And this dynamic has led to a lot of meetings with people I've never thought I ever will be able to meet. And a few of these meetings I can't even talk about, and at the end of the day I even had to decline a few meetings because my plane went back at a certain time scheduled, and I didn't want to extend that, although I had second thoughts about it. It was an impressive event. It was an amazing place to be for understanding what the future is and what kind of direction we are heading, as well as who is kind of the secret source, the support, the influencers, people who are making sure the message that is really coming out there is the right one. And this is not a conspiracy. This is really a ton of people who are extremely supportive because they believe it's a good idea to make the world a better place. What I'm going to show here is not just the content. I'm not going through the slides and show you the technical details. Probably do this later on. I already started with articles to talk about it. But my intention here is I've been kind of in a very unique spot there, alone kind of as a European within 280 other participants of that event, because it has been shrink down to the minimum just to make sure that there is no risk around COVID. And what I'm trying to do here now is to give everybody a little bit of sense and feel how it felt like being there. How was it to go in there? What kind of controls are there? Who's standing around? And what kind of service is out there? Just a little bit background here. I think it's good to get a feeling, a sense and feel about that. So you understand a little bit better also what I've experienced there. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about what happened before and after the event. But before we go into that, there's something urgent that I need to say here, and that is really, really important. Since I follow Tesla, they are doing technology presentations. They've been doing this in the past quite some time, and they reveal information nobody else is doing. Tesla is not a company that is making a polished marketing show like we've seen lately from Lucid and other companies, or we know it from the German automakers, revealing the newest, concept car and talking about how great it will be one day. Tesla is showing technology really down to the ground. They go down to the almost technical level, and the problem obviously is nobody understands that, and that's exactly what happened here. The main content of the presentation has not been understood by the media, by the financial analysts around there, and also not by the automotive analysts, because what we are talking about here is new. It's battery technology. It has a lot to do with, chemical secret source and production methodologies and production manufacturing, and, how to steer the soup in a way that at the end of the day, something new is coming out here. And yes, we can go into that. We can try to explain that. But for most people, this is kind of boring. That reminds them of school. They don't want to hear that. They just want to hear, something superior, like this is a 1,000,000-mile battery or something they can work with. And this is not the style from Tesla. Tesla is really interested to convey a message. And the message is not the message to the analysts. And this is not a message to keep the stock price up at all. It's a message to make sure that the competition understands what is coming and that they try to go the same path, because what we have here is an extremely acceleration of the pace of innovation of Tesla, with a extreme acceleration of vertical integration combined with that, which will in the future unfold an unbelievable cost reduction, volume increase, and an efficiency increase. What we have here is a revolution. This is not an evolution, it's a revolution. And I'm not surprised that the media is kind of, not getting it and saying this was a disappointment. The disappointment is for me that they just don't understand. If you go to an event with Tesla, and this is a message to all of you, dear analysts and dear financial analysts and automotive analysts and dear media, if you go to an event like that, get prepared up front. Don't go there just like, hey, I'm sitting down here, they are going to tell me something nice and everything is fine. This is not how it works. You need to go there prepared to be able to understand a little bit of that. And if you feel like, okay, I'm not an expert here, then you need to be a little bit more, informed and prepared up front. And the information is out there. This is not rocket science. And without that, you just shouldn't go there. Don't go. It doesn't make any sense. And if you report later on, everything what you're saying is just nonsense. And this is what I've seen in a lot of reports. This is my disappointment, and I don't really get why anybody is still reading that. In the aftermath, we all know most of that is completely wrong. Actually, I know it right away when I read it. But I understand, because I'm really deep in some technical details here. I'm a former mechanical engineer, probably understand a few things around the matter other people don't. But if you don't understand, acknowledge that, and don't pretend to you heard something that you just didn't heard. And this is kind of misleading to the population. And of course, everybody who's reading this is thinking, okay, this was bad. It wasn't. It was mind-blowing. It was amazing. It was incredible. It was an inflection point in the path of sustainable transportation.
Go all the way down. Go all the way down.
Okay.
So, what the event is for now?
That's a battery day and the shareholder meeting.
Okay.
It's
Drop off right here.
Oh, yeah. Make a U-turn. Right here.
The event was held at the so-called Kato facility in Fremont, California. And you see me here with the Uber driver driving along the road up to the barrier where he had to drop me, simply because everybody else entering or moving along should have a pass, and I had that. Actually, I got a kind of special invitation. I did not participate in the so-called lottery, where a lot of people got a ticket for that, and you could also see that in terms of seating, and the treatment of these two groups was slightly different. I had to pass another security stop, so they checked whether I have any metal with me. So I had to go to a security clearance stop, looked into my bag and all of that, where I had mainly video equipment with me. And then someone, and again, everybody was guided by one person inside. And then the huge surprise came, because I didn't know that. All of a sudden, I've seen, almost 300 vehicles on a huge parking lot, looking at a big screen like in a movie theater. And then I realized, okay, this is a security concept, and it makes tons of sense. So everybody who was there was sitting in one vehicle, looking, at the screen on the car or on the screen in front, and watching the presentation, watching Elon Musk, and watching other executives from Tesla presenting what they wanted to present, which was amazing. So I came there, was surprised. They put me into a car, I think it's 139 or so, and a minute later someone else came whether I would be interested to sit more in front. And I said, yes, of course. And all of a sudden, they put me just in the third row, which is really, really in front. And some of you may know the Third Row podcast. And the funny part was, when I looked around, I've seen the members of the Third Row podcast around. So Omar was there, Christian was to my left, Omar was to my back, and Gali was back left. So I was kind of in the middle of it, which was amazing. I've seen a lot of other people around me, like Ryan McCarthy from his podcast. Rob was standing around making first video takes, and I felt like I'm in the epicenter here of the influencer group of Tesla, which was amazing.
Thank you, Roy.
Rob Maurer at work. What I didn't talk about yet or didn't mention before is that another amazing thing happened, because I've been invited the night before to an event with influencers, and I did not know who was showing up, and I met most of these guys already there, which was great because we could catch up. Some of them didn't know me, most not. No wonder. I mean, this kind of straight German guys traveling all the distance, but they got to know me over time a little bit, and that was great. I've been sitting right aside from Kim. Eli was on the other side. I mean, the Adventures of a Starman maybe ringing a bell with some people. Really love this comics, fantastic. And you start talking, exchanging thoughts, and then you realize it's the same atmosphere, it's the same objectives of the people, it's the same ideas. They are all supporters. They want to make a difference. They want to help to make the world a better place. This is just something that connects people. And it was just incredible to have the opportunity to, talking to Sophie, talking to Rob, talking to Gary, talking to a lot of people who are in that scene since partly a very long time, and fighting, the fight that is out there, be it in the US or be it here in Europe and Germany.
So,
Yeah, be careful what you're saying.
Yeah, watch what you're saying.
Oh,
come on. You
So,
still got to get it tomorrow.
I'm talking to
What are you saying?
everybody's different. Everybody's
All good here?
So I don't,
Enjoy the food?
Man. Did you come here all the way from Germany?
Yes, I did.
Beautiful.
And you?
What did you get granted by the U.S. Embassy? Like some...
After everybody was seated and, air condition was put on, and by the way, the vehicles have been locked. You could not drive away. That would have been, a little bit odd. So we've been one by one in a car that was kind of, air condition was working, the presentation was on screen, but that's what is more or less, I haven't tried to reset the car, but you better don't, I believe. So we had a lot of fun there, waving right and left and, talking with other people. And then the shareholder meeting started, and everybody who has participated in shareholder meetings knows usually they are pretty boring. And to be honest, it was my in-person shareholder meeting, although since I invest in 30 years. And since 30 years, I never visited one in person because it's usually boring. So this one was boring as well. Therefore, I decided, to make most of the clips and everything later on. And then was a short break, and everybody was going to the front near the stage, because the Semi was there, the Roadster 2 was there, the Quad was there, and the Cybertruck has been there. And everybody went there, and then, too many people, and they called us back. But I made some pictures, I made some videos. It's amazing to see these vehicles in person. They are just mind-blowing. I love that. It makes a difference. Pictures are nice, but seeing something in person is just different level. So we looked at that. Some people, visited the restrooms right and left. You've been, walking there or guided, and they've been running around, with water bottles if someone wanted to drink something, because it was a pretty hot, warm day. Really, really nice day, by the way. So after that, everybody was seated again and the presentation started.
Hi everyone, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we can only have 10 people outside of their cars at a time.
Good. Let me know if you need anything else, my friend. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Brendan. Pleasure to meet you. Spiritually. Yeah.
Major product line in the future. And we also got 4 consecutive quarters of GAAP profitability, which was very difficult. Yeah, to tighten the supply chain and to have from when parts arrive, put it into a car very quickly and deliver the car very quickly to the customer. And if you can do that inside the sort of your kind of payables timeline, then the faster you grow, the more cash you have. Or conversely, if you're unable to do it within your payables timeline, the faster you grow, the less money you will have, which is obviously bad. It's for a capital-intensive situation. So just tightening up and having the parts move very quickly to the factory, put it in a car, get it. It's really important to have a factory in each continent. Because if you don't at least have a factory in the continent, it is impossible to achieve this. So having a factory in China that's able to serve China, and then soon many other countries in the region, will be key to us tightening that total sort of chain of cash flow and getting it. Essentially, the faster we grow, the more cash. This is really important. That's also why it's important to have Giga Berlin complete, because then we'll have a factory in China, a factory in the U.S., and soon a second factory in the U.S. in Austin, and a factory in Europe. And I mean, even if for Giga Texas in Austin, even if we had exactly the same costs as in California, it would still be advantageous to do it there, because it's roughly 2/3 of the way across the U.S. So in terms of delivering cars to the central U.S. and to the East Coast, it's just faster, costs less, and it fundamentally improves our economics. So I think this is also maybe something that's not fully appreciated of just how important it is to have a factory at least on the continent or reasonably close to where the end customers is, so you can tighten that whole chain.
The presentation started and Elon started to present Battery Day. It was to my left. I could see him directly, so it was not that far away. I've seen all the executives standing there, so I had a pretty good view there. That was great. I had a screen in front of me where I could also watch the presentation. There's been some technical details too, in terms of the presentation was in the beginning visible on the screen in the vehicles, and all of a sudden my screen freezed, and so people tried to solve that, but they wanted to reset my vehicle. I didn't want that because it takes a little time. It can be, I don't know, 30 seconds or up to a minute, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to miss anything what I heard on stage, so therefore we didn't do that, which was not a problem. But simply because I could see everything in front of me on the big screen outside of the car. So that was great. Then there was, the long presentation. Everybody have seen that, and you can, if you like, see this again right now, but not here, because this is not the moment where I want to go into that. I probably will do that later. And at the end, there was a Q&A. There was questions around. They've been running even around my car with a microphone. And in the aftermath, I was thinking about whether I should ask a question, because I indeed had the opportunity. And in the aftermath, I think I should have done that, because there was a question that I had in terms of in what kind of sequence or iterations they are trying to include the new innovations, and we talk about a few new innovations for battery technology here in the vehicles. In other words, I believe the media is confused and believes that it takes 10 years and then all of a sudden the volumes are there and the technology is there, which is absolutely not the case. They are producing already today these new batteries. I mean, people don't get it. It's here, it's real. It's in a pilot environment, but it's already volumes. And they're going to do strong volumes in Austin. And I tell you something, and this is kind of even insider information or not, however you like to look at it, Giga Berlin will be the most advanced modern gigafactory in the world for a while, because I believe Austin probably, is taking the first rank after. But that question could have been helpful. I didn't ask it. I should have done it, I believe, in the aftermath. But here we go. This is how it is. I believe people are confused, don't get and don't understand that it won't take extremely long to get this new technology in vehicles. And people will be extremely impressed about that, simply because what I've seen in terms of specifications, I'm personally, as an engineer and as someone who's dealing with that matter, and had really very high expectations. I mean, my expectations for that battery, they have been extreme on top. And now I go there and I see what they present, and I'm just blown away. I mean, they exceeded everything I've ever thought about, and that was amazing. So presentation was done, Q&A was done, everybody was kind of, it finished. And the fun part is, and here it comes again, safety first. They've been calling a group of cars and by numbers to go out first. So everybody continued to sit in his vehicles, although we all know that vehicles are far away from each other, so there was not really any risk. But they've been calling them by number so that only a small group went to the exit to de-stress the situation, which was, again, very well done, like in a plane, by the way. And everyone walked out, was guided to Uber or to vehicles or to taxis or you name it. Event was over. There was actually not 100% over. I had the opportunity, very short opportunity, to talk to the head of investor relations, Martin Viecher from Tesla, which was amazing. Just to exchange a few words was great. He was so kind to invite me here, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it very much because the information I got right and left and in the middle was so rich and valuable for me. So short conversation with him, actually in front of a special, if you like, VIP or whatever room, because they've been guiding institutional investors through the Roadrunner battery production. So everything that has been presented was on screen. This was just nice marketing pictures and videos, but is real. I mean, it's not far away from there, actually around the corner, and all these people had the opportunity to see the battery production. And guess what? These investors just did not talk about it, and I don't know why. Maybe there was an NDA in place or something, but the truth is, the real meat and the real important information to convey here is this is real. It's not like they need to invest now many years to invent everything. Yes, there are technical problems to solve, but we've seen this in the past, and we've seen really, Elon Musk downplaying stuff and overachieving, even in timeline, in the last years, what he promised. And I believe the same is going to happen here with the battery. So don't fool yourself. Batteries are produced right now, as I'm recording this video, as you are listening to this video, in the Cato facility. And they're going to expand that, and they're going to use the batteries for specific vehicles. And Elon said it. I mean, the Semi is going to be one. I think the Roadster 2 was the other one he mentioned. But on the long run, I expect that these batteries are going to go into a lot of cars. And the other thing that most people, lost in translation, completely overheard, I believe, is that this is a moment where Tesla is diverting different sorts of batteries for different use cases. So before, we had two different form factors with two different specifications they've been using, and now it's going to be much more, which makes a ton of sense because you can de-stress the supply chain, and by doing that you get the best performance for and costs for a specific use case. So I've been blown away. I really loved it. I would have loved to stay a little bit longer and of course see the production everybody would have, but it was impossible to go in there. And well, we have to accept that. That's how life goes, but next time, certainly. At the end, just a very few words, of thanks to my fantastic, to my awesome, to my incredible patrons who supported me and, helped me with that trip. I just did send a tweet out before. I said, hey, I'm extremely honored to, to be able to fly over. I didn't expect that. I'm going to pay everything out of my pocket, and that's fine because, the gross profit I'm gaining through all the information I have is fantastic. It's not money, but money doesn't matter that much to me. However, I received a lot of, love, contribution, support financially as well as emotionally from new patrons joining my platform. And, I'm just blown away. I'm grateful. I think I want to thank all of you for everything you are doing, and still I get, support, requests and everything, like during the time when I was in California. The community is awesome. It's a lot of people, really a lot of people who are trying to help to make the world a better place, trying to help with sustainable transportation and getting credible, fact-based information out to the media, to the mainstream media, to your neighbor, to your family, to everybody. And I believe this is so, so, so important. Therefore, and that's my mission. Therefore, I thank all of you for not only helping me, but helping everybody who is out there with a similar mission. And I have to say, I've been every evening out with people. I've been invited all the time before and after the sessions. And I couldn't even do everything, as I said before, because time-wise I was kind of restricted. But everybody I met, without any exception, was a great person. You all rock. A person that wants to make a difference, that wants to help the world, getting the word out, informing neighbors, informing the media, informing even institutional investors to get an understanding, comprehend what really is happening here. You are all so important, I believe, for the mission we are in here. And in my opinion, we've heard about the Master Plan 1 and the Master Plan 2 from Tesla, Master Plan 2 actually. And I believe we heard this day's Master Plan 3 from Elon Musk, presented at Battery Day, the inflection point to go into a new direction. We're gonna see a huge, huge, huge gap in terms of technology specifications and innovation between Tesla and everybody else. We see it already today, but this is going to accelerate. So if the incumbent automakers accelerate, Tesla is accelerating now even more, simply because the platform they are starting from is on a different level. So they have more options to be faster. And this is going to have amazing implications. One of the most important ones, I believe, is costs. Having a 25K compact car makes all the difference in the world. Why? Because there's a huge buyer segment opening up, and a lot of people will be able to afford a Tesla and to be able to drive long distance without any compromises versus their existing ICE cars. So this is making a difference. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe. It's nice to see this channel here growing too. If you would like to have more information, you always find my articles at Clitechnica, or look at the Patreon page, which is kind of a repository, because all information, articles, German or English, all videos are going to be there. Thanks so much. Have a great time and see you soon.